Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. NFL Divisional Round Game Picks, top-seeded Lions and Chiefs avoid upsets, Ravens or Bills an epic tilt? Why Gennaro picked the Chiefs? Both teams annoyed us during the regular season, but there are levels to this. The back-to-back reigning champion Chiefs won 15 of their first 16 games, took a 9th straight division title and clinched the AFC's number 1 seed on Christmas. And yet, they caught flack for the way they won, often playing with their food before eating a W. Compare that to the Texans, who won 5 of their first 6 games, then underwhelmed for the better part of 3 months to ultimately take the AFC's worst division almost by default. Owning a quintessentially average point differential of 0, Houston opened the playoffs as a home underdog or, as some opined, a bye week for the visiting Chargers. Here's the interesting part, though. DeMeco Ryans' group impressively rallied on Wild Card Weekend, smashing the Bolts, 32-12, while showcasing the kind of suffocating pass rush that could exploit Kansas City's well-documented protection issues. Furthermore, the Texans played a tight game against the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium less than a month ago. So, what's stopping me from predicting Houston will flip the script on Saturday? Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City's head coach boasts a remarkable career record of 32-7 after a bye, leading me to believe that, yes, he will have a plan to stymie edge monsters Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. As for the Chiefs' quarterback? Well, this is the time of year when the man's fully locked in. Just ask him about this past Sunday, when his wife gave birth to the couple's 3rd child. It was cool that football was on TV when I was in the hospital, so I got to watch a little bit, Mahomes said. Brittany was kind enough to let us watch football as she was getting ready to give birth to our 2nd daughter. Why Brooke picked the Lions? The Lions bring some serious momentum into this contest after routing the Vikings last time out to earn the NFC's number 1 seed. Jared Goff is playing the best football of his career, seamlessly operating Ben Johnson's offense to carry the Lions to the top of the NFL in scoring and the number 2 spot in total offense and passing. Detroit has breezed through most of its opponents, but now runs into a Dan Quinn-led team that could pose some problems. For starters, Goff is 0-2 with 1 TD and 6 giveaways in his 2 games with Detroit against Quinn, when he was Dallas defensive coordinator. Washington also possesses the league's 3rd-ranked pass defense and a run defense that hasn't necessarily been great but leveled up to limit a top 5 Bucs rushing attack in its wild card win. Containing running backs Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who's expected to play for the first time in over a month, will be the key for the Commanders if they want to keep this one close. Doing so would also stall Detroit's lethal play-action attack, an aspect Washington must keep under wraps. Per Next Gen Stats, Goff led the league with nearly 2,000 pass yards and 14 touchdowns, tied on play-action passes this season, while Washington allowed the 2nd fewest pass yards, 873, and 4 pass TDs on play-action. It'll be a long day for the Commanders if Goff syncs up regularly with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams downfield. Steelers could make major defensive coaching change. The Pittsburgh Steelers season ended with a whimper, with the Steelers soundly losing to the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs in a 28-14 loss. After allowing over 20 points just twice in their first 8 games, the Steelers gave up 20 or more in 7 of their last 10 to finish the season, including 28 in their playoff loss. This downturn in defensive performance is one of the reasons why Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Ray Fittipaldo believes that Steelers defensive coordinator Teryl Austin could be one of the next coaches to lose their job as the season wraps up. In an appearance on 93.7 The Fans The Morning Show, Fittipaldo spoke about Austin as well as other assistant coaches and their job security heading into the next season. Teryl Austin could be in the crosshairs here just because of the way the season finished. I think if they're gonna eat one contract, I think Austin only has a year left, and you gotta do something after the way the defense got dominated in the playoff game and really the 4 regular season games leading up to that. "It's hard to come back with the status quo there," Fittipaldo said. The Steelers were also unable to produce on the offensive side of the ball, but offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has now interviewed for multiple open head coaching positions. It likely comes down to contract and monetary concerns that they are viewed differently, as neither performed quite well down the stretch. The Steelers will likely need a complete overhaul heading into the next season, both from a staffing and roster point of view. Whether that involves Austin is yet to be seen, and the lack of talent from other teams in Austin's position will make it hard for the Steelers to make a move there. Bears interview Mike McCarthy, Arthur Smith for head coaching job. The Chicago Bears interviewed former Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy and Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith for their head coaching job on Wednesday. McCarthy met with the Bears 2 days after a split with Dallas after 5 years in what Cowboys owner Jerry Jones described as a mutual agreement. McCarthy's contract expired on January 8 following a 7-10 season. Dallas was 12-5 each of the 3 years before that, but still hasn't been past the divisional round of the NFC playoffs since its last Super Bowl at the end of the 1995 season. Before taking the Dallas job after a full season out of coaching, McCarthy was with the Packers for 13 seasons and had a 125-77-2 record from 2006 to 18. He was 10-8 in the playoffs and led Green Bay to a Super Bowl title 14 years ago. Smith was hired by the Steelers a year ago after coaching Atlanta to a 21-30 record from 2021 to 2023. The Falcons were 7-10 in each of his 3 seasons before firing him. The Steelers went from tying for 27th in scoring in 2023 to finishing 16th this past season, after signing Russell Wilson and acquiring Justin Fields from Chicago to play quarterback. The Bears are looking to replace Matt Eberflus, who was fired on November 29. Chicago finished last in the NFC North at 5-12 and lost 10 in a row before closing the season with a win at Green Bay. The development of quarterback Caleb Williams will be the top priority for the next coach in the wake of the Bears' 4th straight losing season. The number 1 pick in last year's draft, he threw for 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. But he was sacked a franchise record and league-leading 68 times. The Bears have confirmed interviewing 12 candidates, a list highlighted by Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, former Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll and former Tennessee Titans coach Mike Vrabel, who got the New England job. Chicago has also interviewed interim coach Thomas Brown, former Carolina and Washington coach Ron Rivera, Detroit defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, former Stanford coach David Shaw, Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver and New York Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Arthur Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.